Okay, today we're looking at midpoints. A midpoint is a point at the middle It's a point at the middle of a line segment that is equidistant from both ends of a line. So the point exactly in the middle. If given two numbers, just find the number in the middle. If given coordinates, you can use the midpoint formula, which you see here. For example, if you have a midpoint of AB and we have A and B, the first point's considered your x1 and y1. Your second point, your x2 and your y2. The little numbers just refer to the first point or the second point. So if we're going to plug these numbers in this formula up here, we would do the x's would be -7 plus 3 divided by 2. Well, let's work that out. -7 plus 3 is -4 divided by 2 equals -2. So this is your x value of your midpoint. Then let's do the y values. The y values would be 4 plus -4 divided by 2. That's 0 divided by 2 equals 0. That represents the y's. So my ordered pair answer for this one would be -2, 0. Alright, let's look at some examples here. Let's see, find the missing coordinate for each, then graph the 3 points. Okay, so we're just going to go the same thing we did using that formula. This being our x1 and our y1, our x2 and our y2. We want to go ahead and plug these numbers in. So we're going to do the x's first, -3 plus 1 divided by 2. -2 divided by 2 equals -1. Then I'm going to do my y's. 4 plus 8 divided by 2. That's 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So my midpoint should be -1,6. So we're going to verify if that makes sense with this picture. So we're going to go ahead and plot these points. So the first point I'm going to do is at -3, 4. Let me see if I can zoom my picture a little before I get a little better here. -3, 4. Okay, this is my point A. Then my point B is going to be at 1, 8. So here's my line, and we're going to see is the halfway point at -1,6. So 6. So we found, I don't know, I can call that M. We found the midpoint to be -1,6. If you look in that picture, that makes sense with that picture. It looks like it's in the middle of that line segment. That's what a midpoint is. So now you're going to try this one. I would take a second and pause the video, try this one on your own, and then I'll have you check your work. So I'm going to do my x's together first. 9 divided by 2 comes out to 4.5. I'm going to do my y's together here. That comes out to -2.5. So this one's a little bit trickier on the graphing end of things just because we have some decimals here. So let's graph the point 2, -5, and then 7, 0. Okay. All right, so we found this ordered pair to be 4.5 was my x and negative 2.5 was my y. So let's try that. So somewhere in that box. And that's about where it was, so that should be my midpoint. So your answer is actually this is your midpoint. The graph is just to help you to see if your answer is realistic with that situation. Alright, the next one, instead of finding a midpoint, they're going to give you an endpoint. So we are missing an xy in this situation. We're missing an x1 and a y1, but we have our x2 and our y2. So when you set up the equation, I'm just going to write x plus negative 1 divided by 2 should equal the middle point, which was 2. So this is your midpoint right here. And this is what you want to set it equal to. Set it equal to the midpoint. So 2 was that. To solve a problem like this, you're going to times 2 to the other side to get rid of that 2 on the bottom. So x plus negative 1, I'm just going to write x minus 1 equals 4. So the x value equals 5. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with the y values. I'm going to use this room up here because my screen's not very big here. My y values would be y plus 0, that's your y2, divided by 2 equals negative 4. That's the y value in the midpoint. So to solve, you times by 2 to the other side. So you get y plus 0 equals negative 8. So y equals negative 8. So the endpoint that I was looking for, my x and my y, came out to 5, negative 8. Alright, so let's plot the points and see what we have. We have a midpoint at 2, negative 4. Okay, I'm going to put an M there. And then I have negative 1, 0 is my B. So we're going to plot the point 5, negative 8. Because that's the point we found. And does that look like that would be the other end of that segment? It does make sense that we found point A. The one we are missing should be equal distance between these two things. They should be the same length. Okay? Alright, so now let's look at the next one. We're going to use our formula. Remember, it's going to equal the midpoint. That's what it equals. Let's do our x's first. I'm going to do x plus 2 divided by 2 should equal 0. Hence, the 0 is the x value. Then I'm going to do y plus 4 divided by 2 should equal negative 2. That is the midpoint value in that problem. Now you have to solve. To solve, you would take the bottom number and times it to the other side. So x plus 2 equals 0. So my x value comes out to negative 2. Okay, let's do the same thing down here on the y's. Y plus 4 equals negative 4. Subtract 4 to the other side, I get y equals negative 8. Okay, so we want to see if the point negative 2, negative 8 will be the other endpoint in the picture that I need. So we'll graph our points. 2, 4. 0, negative 2, and then negative 2, negative 8. Okay, so we're trying to say, okay, does that make a line segment where AM and MB look to be the same length? And they do. So that is correct.